Right, so today we're going to be talking about mini activity 1.2. This is located in the week 2 folder under mini activity 1.2. So it's going to be letterhead and your full signature block. Now, when you click on here, you will see right here is the instructions and the grading rubric, so you can find those. All right. So, the very first thing that you want to do when you are working on any Word document is you do want to make sure that all of your formatting is correct first. This ensures that the formatting is going to be the same throughout the entire document, as opposed to having an area that is mismatched. Okay. So, to begin, you want your document formatting to be font size 12. Choose which one of the font styles you like, single spaced, 8-point after spacing. And just as a reminder, you do want to use soft returns when you want to keep that spacing closer, and you use your regular returns when you want that 8-point after spacing. And then your document style has to be in Word, so you're going to need a .docx file extension there. No other files will be accepted, so no pages, no Google Docs, no PDF files. So just make sure that you do save that correctly. And then that will be submitted and uploaded via Brightspace. So the very first thing we're going to do is we are going to open a blank Word document, and let's get started with that formatting. And I'm going to show you how to do that formatting today. So I like to go ahead and put both on the screen at the same time. Makes it really easy to see what is happening over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and check that font. Okay, so I can see I've chosen my correct font. I've got my font size there. Next up, I'm going to check on my spacing. So I'm going to go ahead and click on paragraph. There's that little, I'm going to show you again. There is that little box in full view. It's a little easier to see. Right here in paragraph, there's this little box right here. We're going to click on that, and that's going to open this up so we can do 8-point after spacing, and we're going to change our line spacing to single. So the before spacing should be 0. And we're going to click OK. And now that is throughout our entire document, and I don't have to think about it again, which is always a great thing. I like to keep things as simple as possible. So now that all our formatting is correct, let's go ahead and go down and let's check out the requirements for the letterhead. So in the letterhead, you must include your full name, and it needs to be larger than 12-point font, but absolutely no larger than 16-point font. Honestly, in most cases, 14-point is great. So you will change the size of your name for this. That will be on its own line. We need to have address, phone number, email address, your LinkedIn URL. Just a couple of things to keep in mind. Your name must appear on that very first line of the letterhead. The total letterhead cannot exceed 3 lines total. So you can see we obviously have more than 3 lines worth of 3 different pieces of data. But what's going to happen is you're going to see we're going to put those on the same line. Lines 2 and 3 may contain multiple pieces of information, and you will need to use a soft return in between lines 2 and 3 in order to keep that spacing tighter. An easy way to separate this information when you have it on the same line is to use a vertical bar. So you can use that, and that is located on your keyboard. If you hit Shift and the backspace key, or the backslash key, that's going to give you that vertical bar. It's just directly underneath your backspace or your delete key, just above Enter key. All right. All right. A couple of good tips. You want to make sure that you keep it really simple, keep it really clean. You want to make sure that it's very readable. So you can either left align, center, or right align your letterhead, whatever you prefer, whatever you like. You just want to keep it consistent. So everything is left aligned or everything is right aligned, so on and so forth. Maintain a professional tone. You want it to just simply communicate your personal brand. It needs to be very polished. It needs to look mature. So we don't want any excess cutesy images, fonts, any of that stuff. We want to keep it very professional. You want to limit to essential information. So you don't want to add any extra information that's not needed. It just clutters up the letterhead. And of course, you want to make sure that your name does stand out. So let's look really quickly at the different types of letterhead. So there's academic letterhead. This would be used by universities, school, faculty, researchers. If you're a TA here at the school, then you may have an academic letterhead that you use. And those oftentimes include things like the institution's name, what department you work for, maybe what your credentials are, and the university logo. Another one that's very commonly used is a corporate letterhead. And so, in a corporate letterhead, instead of having your personal information, it's going to have the company's information. So, this is the company's name, address, phone number, their website, and of course, any of their branding elements that are required. Now, what we're actually going to be using for this assignment is a business professional letterhead. So, this is something that you, as a business professional, can use for things like job applications. If you are consulting with people, if you are a manager at a company, then you could use this as your personal letterhead. And basically, it has your personal information, your personal contact. And that's what we're going to be creating today because we're going to use this later in the semester to create your resume, your cover letter, your follow-up letter. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to get into doing the letterhead here. So I'm going to go ahead and place my cursor right here at the top. And the first thing I want to do is I'm going to type in my name. I'm going to do this as a personal letterhead, so I'm not going to put any of my titles or my credentials in there. I'm just going to put my name in there, and I'm going to do a regular return or a hard return. And now I'm going to start adding in my address and my phone number. If you have never typed out your address before, you are going to put the number of your building, then your street, comma, your town. I put that in the wrong spot, comma, then your state initials, and then your zip code. Then we're going to put a space, and we're going to do that vertical bar like we talked about. Then you're going to type in your phone number. You all have my phone number. You are more than welcome to text me with questions as you have them. But there it is again, just in case you need it. Next up, we are going to add our email address. All right. And then we're going to add our LinkedIn URL. Now, for this particular one, it's not going to fit on the end of this. So I am going to do a shift enter, and then I'm going to put in my LinkedIn URL. Now, instead of just writing LinkedIn URL, however, you will be simply doing www.linkedin.com/ and then it typically is the state you're in and then your username. Now you can go to your profile. There's three little dots on the right-hand side. You click those three little dots and hit share, and then that's going to help you figure out what your profile is. Okay. All right. So that is going to hyperlink in there for us. So all they'd have to do is click on that and they will be able to find me. Last but not least, I have found that having a line underneath your your letterhead makes it very, very clear and easy to determine where that ends and the body of your letter begins. All right. Now, we want this to be larger than 12-point font. So I am going to highlight that. I'm going to put it in bold and I'm going to increase it to 14-point font. It doesn't need to be excessive. It needs to be um, business professional. It needs to be concise. Okay. So 14-point font, in my opinion, is more than enough. 16-point is the absolute max that you should do. Okay. So you can see here, this is very clean. This is very apparent as to what everything is. There's no questions and it's all available. Now, if you want to center this, then you would go to paragraph after highlighting the whole thing and you could center the entire thing. This is absolutely acceptable. Or if you prefer, you can right align it. And again, that is very acceptable as well. Whichever way you decide to do it, make sure that you save this as a template at this point so that you have that letterhead available whenever you need it. All right. So let's see what is next. Now that I have the letterhead portion done, what is the next part, and that is the body. So in the body of this, you are going to have two different paragraphs. The very first paragraph, you're going to actually explain to me why a good design matters and identify key elements that make a really strong letterhead. And you're just going to talk about that. Okay. In paragraph 2, you're going to talk about what belongs in a full signature block, which we're about to talk about. And you're going to also explain why each item matters. All right, so we're going to assume that we have 2 full paragraphs worth of information here, and then we're going to add in that signature block. Okay, now in your signature block, I am going to have you do this as a standard signature block just so that you have all of the information. But depending on which one of the letterheads you're using would depend on what information is included. Okay, normally for the standard letterhead, the business professional letterhead, you would not include the LinkedIn profile down here because you already have it above, right? However, because I want to make sure that you guys can do an entire signature block, we're going to do it all here together. A really important example of when you would include that LinkedIn profile down here at the bottom is when you have like a corporate letterhead where everything on the top is all of the corporate information and none of your information. Then that's even more important that you include your information down here. Okay. For this activity, we're also going to assume that your job is a student and your organization is your school and your degree program. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So at the end of any body of any letter, you do want to have a clear thank you of some sort. So sincerely is a great one, very commonly used. And then you want to hit enter 3 times. Okay, so from here we go 1, 2, 3. And this is going to give it a place for you to actually physically sign should you choose to. And you can either do that electronically, or if you were printing this, then you could handwrite in that signature. Then you're going to add in your full name. If you have a title, you would include that title after your name. Then we're going to do shift enter because we want to keep your signature blank nice and tight. So shift enter, and we're going to put in our title. So in your case, you would write student. Then you're going to put in your school or organization. So we're going to hit shift enter, and we're going to put in Purdue. All right, shift enter. Next up, pardon my cat. Get down, Oliver. Next up, we're going to put in our phone number. Then we're going to add in our professional email address. This is making an assumption that you are not sending this as an email, but even if you were sending it in an email, it's always a good idea to include your email address because as things get forwarded or as things get replied all to, a lot of times people don't know exactly which email address was yours. So by including it here, it allows your email to stay consistent all the way through that chain, and people can find you a lot easier. So you do still include this even if you're sending an email. Okay. All right. Again, here, oops. Now we're going to go shift enter because we do want to keep everything tight. Here's where we're going to include that LinkedIn. All right, shift enter. And then at this point, you can add any additional information should you choose to. So you could put in here Dormer School of Business. If you have any professional certificates, then you could put that information down here. If you have preferred pronouns that are not expected, you can put those there. Or even if you just want to include your preferred pronouns, that's fine too. So at this point, this is the graded portion of this assignment in your signature block. You need to have all of that information. It should all be left aligned. I don't want to see any indents on this. Everything should be left aligned, not centered, not right aligned. Everything is left aligned on a full signature block. All right. A lot of times I'll see where students will come here and they will try to shift it over or they will tab over. because they want it over further or centered, and that's not business professional, okay? Business professional is always left aligned. All right. So make sure you do fill in those 2 paragraphs in the middle. But once you have all of that done, go ahead and save this as a Microsoft Word docx file and get that submitted. All right. Thanks so much, guys. And I look forward to seeing how you do. Bye.